My dad was a hunter, a big-time quail hunter, and also a squirrel hunter. He would get up early, shoot squirrels, come home, bring the squirrels, and he'd have to have somebody hold them while he dressed them. So I would be dressed in my Sunday church clothes, and I would hold my hands out like this and hold the legs of the squirrel so he could dress it. So shot doves and shot trap and skeet when Larry and I were first married, and that's really my first personal introduction to shooting.
I got a gun when I was 4, and my parents shot with me. And I remember it's a little .22 that my dad actually had to customize for me. He shortened the stock and he shortened the barrel. And the extractor never worked, so he always had to flick out the empties with his pocket knife and taught me how to shoot with that. And now my daughter and my son are both shooting that gun. And it's so fun to watch them both learn to shoot on the same gun that I learned how to shoot on.
The Potterfield family is full of spirited personalities and avid hunters. It's also the driving force behind a successful family business. But it all started with one man and one woman.
We've been married 43 years.
My freshman year, second semester, we were seated alphabetically in English Lit class, and I sat directly behind Larry. And every time he would come in with his jacket, and I think an apple, and would hand it to me to sit it on the desk behind me because he didn't want to have to reach it. You don't remember that, do you?
That was a dating prop.
So I got tired of waiting on him, and we finally started dating. The Vietnam War was going on. That was somewhere in our junior year. I knew that he would be drafted.
This was a national draft number, so they picked a birthday and drew a number, so everybody in America born on January 16 was number 121.
And I can still remember sitting in the living room with my parents watching that on TV, and can still tell you he was number 121. I mean, that's one of those numbers you just never forget.
January 16th is 1, 2, 1.
So we got married between our junior and senior years in college. And then he went off to basic training, and I went back to school and got my degree back home.
All part of yesterday.
It was all a part of our lives.
The longest we've ever been apart was that 6-week period of time. We've never fought, we've never been separated, we've never talked about getting divorced in all those 43 years, so it's not like it's been good times and bad times, it's been good times and great times.
When Larry finished his tour with the Air Force in 1977, he and Brenda, along with daughter Sarah and son Russell, returned to Columbia, Missouri to open their own business. Midway USA began as a small gun shop named Ely Arms, Inc. Thanks to hard work and determination, what started as a collection of 50 or 60 used guns for sale grew into something much bigger.
It was originally a retail store with guns and shooting accessories. We developed a catalog that was originally called Com Load Report, Commercial Loaders Report, which was simply for commercial reloaders. And then the law was passed in 1984 that said that you could sell ammunition and brass to the general public. Before that date, you could only sell brass and ammunition to licensed dealers. So once that change was made, we could sell it to a guy across the street or a guy across the state line. That really made the business expand quite quickly. When we came here, Sarah was 11 months old, and he would work 18 hours a day. You open a business, you're going to spend a lot of time. And I was home with an 11-month-old and a 3-year-old. So he would come home from work. I would do the books at night when we first got started, and as soon as the kids got in school, I was working in the office, so we see each other all day and all night. A family business is not 40 hours, it's 60 hours or 70 hours, and issues come home and they're resolved around the kitchen table. So it's been really good, I think. Never terribly hard, sometimes a little hard. Always fun.
Today, Midway USA sells hunting and firearm-related products nationally and internationally. Through 36 years of growth and change, the business has remained all in the family. Now that Sarah is heavily involved in the company, it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
Well, I started working at Midway when I was 5, or maybe when I was 4. When we were reloading some 8mm Japanese Nambu ammo, my dad would reload it, and then my brother and I would take it and put it in the styrofoam containers and put it into boxes. And then my mom's job was to put the labels on the boxes. And so, I mean, you can imagine this 4-year-old that had little rubber gloves on. So I've worked here really since the beginning. When I went away to college, I thought that I was going to study equine science and be like a vet. But when you have a family business, it's awfully hard to leave that. So I got my business administration degree and came back and started working in the marketing department.
Eliza, at 7 years old, knew what the word strategic planning meant. And would ask Grandpa if we were going to do strategic planning.
We've got people who have been here for, 26 years, I think is our longest running employee. I mean, it's like growing up with additional family members. We knew everybody, and my mom, even to this day, there are still people in the warehouse that call her mom.
She has always played the role of matriarch in the business from the time when there was just 3 or 4 employees till where there's 500 today. She pays a lot of attention to detail. She cares very deeply for the people that are here, but she's played a hugely instrumental role in keeping the organization together, keeping the employees satisfied, and helping the organization do the right thing.
Working with my parents is pretty amazing. I mean, we have our challenges, as any family would, but every day I get to come to work and I get to be with my family.
It's really unusual that we can work together, but it's a delight that we can do it.
They don't have the job because they have the blood. They have the job because they're the right people to have it.
2 things remain constant in my life, and that's horses and guns. I got my first horse when I was 14, and those 2 things have driven my life a lot.
Very, very proud of Sarah. She is such a self-sufficient woman who tackles problems that most women would never tackle, who isn't afraid of anything because of what hunting has taught her.
Sarah is a hunter. She's a tomboy from day one, always wanted to do what Daddy did.
Sarah and I, the bond that hunting gives us is just unbelievable.
I push her because she has a tendency to say, oh, I can't do that. And I say, you know what, Mama? Yes, you can.
Hunting keeps me focused and keeps me moving and doing what I need to do to stay healthy and stay strong.
Dad's fun to hunt with as well.
We will occasionally let him go with us. Sarah and I always try to do at least 1 hunt a year together, away from everybody else.
We've been to Africa and Mongolia and Canada, South America,
Alaska.
Oh, we went to Hungary and shot roe deer.
Mexico,
yeah. I mean, how lucky am I to get this opportunity to go hunting with my mom? She's my favorite person to hunt with and to travel with. And every day I learn something from my mom. She's committed to raising me, apparently, to adulthood and beyond. We definitely butt heads occasionally. My mom.
She's wrong occasionally.
But she's my mom, and she's always there when I need her.
Brenda and Sarah have hunted together since Sarah was 12. But there's another female who's getting into the family hunting tradition these days. Sarah's daughter, Eliza.
She's the ultimate girly girl, but man, does she love to hunt.
I like to go hunting because it's like fun for me.
To watch them grow with that confidence, especially little girls. She grew by leaps and bounds when she started shooting.
So it was raining, and Daddy was like, this is probably gonna affect our chance of getting a turkey. And he looks out the window and there's one huge gobbler, and then they kind of disappear and then come back even closer. And then the boy turkey comes in as he's strutting, trying to impress the decoy. And then I start panicking because I don't like the kick. And as I'm panicking, Daddy says, you want your brother to shoot it? She wanted to shoot the turkey, but she wanted Dad to hold the stock. And then Dad was like, do you want me to shoot the turkey? And then she was like, fine, I'll shoot it. And then I just pulled the trigger. And then I looked at Dad like, did I get him? And he's like, yeah, you got him. Take off your face mask, take off everything. Let's go see that turkey.
They learn respect for the firearm and the understanding of safety.
You always need to have your glasses and your earplugs in when you're getting ready to shoot. Keep your finger like above the trigger and not like on the trigger.
You know, we're always very careful and we're always very safe, but we always make it fun.
He tells me to be patient with yourself and always be glad on what you get and that you even shot and didn't refuse.
I was at a cocktail fundraising party a couple of months ago, and one lady mentioned that she really wanted to get her concealed carry, and instead of talking sports or golf or whatever they had been talking about, they were curious because they all wanted to take concealed carry. There were lawyers and doctors' wives there, and they felt like they needed the protection but didn't know who to ask. So a lot of it is, once the word gets out and people know who they can talk to, there are a lot of women out there that really, really are interested. I guess we've always understood the importance of the Second Amendment and the NRA.
If you believe in the future of America, you really have to support the NRA, and you have to find ways that you can support them that maybe other people wouldn't.
It's really nice that more and more women are understanding, because we need all the support we can get.
The Women's Leadership Forum lunch is really a neat event. When we first went, it was a tiny event. I'm thinking there were maybe 25 of us there.
Sandy Froman spoke. It was a very small group, but a very dedicated group, and it's just kind of mushroomed from there.
I mean, there's so many amazing women at these events, women who run their own shooting ranges and women who write books to empower other women. It's a really special group of people.
The ladies have a lot of influence that we don't give them credit for.
You're introducing the shooting sports in your own ways to your own audiences, and the NRA is really proud to support you in that effort.
They influence the children, they influence the grandchildren. And the more women you get involved, the more people, it's kind of like a snowball. And I think we're at the beginning of that snowball, and it's beginning to roll, and look out, world, because we're going to get big.
It takes a village to raise kids, and the village that I'm choosing to help raise my children are all hunters, and they're raising my kids up in a way that I love.
A woman hunter that really isn't just someone who pulls the trigger, but someone who understands the species, understands the hunt. That's a pretty special creature, and that's who Brenda is and who Sarah is, and from all likelihood, that's who Jay and Eliza will be.
It's pretty amazing and a wonderful feeling to know that you have the ability to go out and hunt and bring food home for your family. You are a family and you're hunting together, and it's just marvelous.
I have the benefit of a wife that hunts and a daughter that hunts, and many times being able to hunt or fish with both of them at the same time, and maybe my son thrown in to boot. So it's quite an interesting thing to experience that, and knowing that not very many men ever have that opportunity. Pretty special. So I'm delighted to be a man in a woman's world.